Today on Off and On the Clock, no game theory, no words like exploit and GTO. No, today, just stone cold, bold predictions, spicy margs, the hottest takes we can cook up here with Pete, John, and Nez. This is Off and On the Clock. Let's do it. All right. We got the birthday boy himself, Nez. I didn't get a recap on the birthday. How was it?
It was good. It was good. It was a nice visit with the folks. Hadn't seen them in like 6 months or so. So that was nice. Just a good calm weekend. 32 now. So we don't go out. We don't party. We have nice meals and then we get in bed by 10 p.m.
I was thinking the other day about people younger than me because, I was the first person to stream all 150 of my drafts. Now, Neil Orfield is claiming being the oldest person, and I'm waiting to get sandwiched by someone on the other side saying I'm going to be the youngest person to stream all 150 of my drafts because I can come back and take Neil's crown. I can just wait a couple of years, do it again. If someone does it younger, I can't Benjamin Button this and go back and do it. So, I mean, I know you were going for 1,000 drafts for the rake back. Is it something you might consider going for in a future year?
No, just because I know that there's competition on the way. I mean, I just did a guest spot. Shout out PPR Tyler. Very sharp drafter. Had a lot of fun there. Dude's 24. So I'm like, okay, I am. I felt very old. I mean, the conversation, there was nothing that like made me feel old there, but him just telling me his age, I had to like take a step back.
That's how I did a couple shows with Ron Stewart this week too. Another guy that's just too young to be making fantasy content. I think it's like you got to be 35 years old to be president. Actually, sorry, you got to be 80 years old to be president. You should. Sorry to get political. You should have to be 30 years old to talk about fantasy football. I think we just need to put that rule in effect.
We can gatekeep it. Yeah, Ron's too young to be making content that good. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
No. How old is Ron? I'm curious now.
I want to say he's like 24, maybe younger.
Yeah, something like, way too young to be as good as he is.
Yeah,
we are the Derrick Henrys to them being like the Trey Bensons or whatever.
That's what when people say like, why do you guys hate? Or they say to me, why do you hate older players so much? These veterans, you won't touch them in drafts. And like the true armchair psychology reason is because we're projecting and we hate in others what we hate in ourselves and our dwindling relevance in this space. And so we try to distract from our impending death by selecting 19-year-old rookies.
I did the complete opposite thing in a BBM this morning, and I started from the 101 with Christian McCaffrey, then Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, and that made me feel young again. I was like, these are my guys.
I love it. What have you guys been drafting in lately?
Everything, man. I tri-tabled. I'm bachelor, a couple days as a bachelor, Bria's in New York, so I can draft all the time without having, to draft on hard mode where I'm also like having a conversation at the same time. So I did the triathlon of marathon, weekly winners, and eliminator this morning just for breakfast. That's just my breakfast, so fired away at those and obviously some bacon.
Do you know what you just gave me an idea because and I think Jewish McCaffrey would appreciate this as one of the foremost guys who rounds up people for sprint drafts because some of those ancillary contests, it's hard to have get those filled really quickly. What if there was like a point in each day where the sickos just said, we're drafting these three, and you call it the triathlon, and it's like at 7 p.m., there's the weekly winners. At 8, there's the sprint, and blah, blah, blah. Then you might even get a couple overflows, people starting to plan their day around it. I think there might be something here, like the daily, and you're not going to be able to make them all. That's understandable. But if it works out, or you have one that you specifically want, you at least know there'll be liquidity in the draft room at that time.
It would be very nice for the sprint for sure.
Yeah. I had last night I was getting ready to I was going to watch some TV with Lauren, and then she's like, I got to go to bed. She was up super early, and I was like, oh, I guess I have my evening free now. So I went and I snuck in a sprint draft and in a BBM draft at night. And I hadn't done a BBM draft for like non-content purposes for about a month. And so that felt like a real treat.
Nice.
I mean, I think this plan of yours might accidentally come together now, Pete, with the amount of people that are just streaming. Like comparatively to last summer, like there are so many people just live streaming drafts that like filling lobbies is going to become easier and easier, especially like maybe we have to make the push to be the higher price point guys now, right? Though all those people will be filling puppy lobbies over and over again on stream and stuff. We are the guys that schedule the higher stuff.
Well, that's people think like, man, Pete loves, streaming about the sprint. It's just a hack to be able to get in sprint drafts. I'm like, at least if I'm streaming it, I could get it filled right away. So there you go. Jewish McCaffrey. That's become a YouTube streamer and start streaming these. I do love it. He's like, he'll pop up on like Twitter in a Discord. I'm sure he's in some of those Telegram chats, other Discords, just going around spreading the good word.
Just trying to gather people. Just it's the best. It's just at any point in time, he is in a fast lobby waiting for it to fill.
We're gonna do the BBM, like the best ball breakfast alert in, but it's gonna be just Jewish McCaffrey, and it's just gonna be like Jewish McCaffrey alert in, and so he has to stop. He doesn't have to keep like typing out what he's referencing. People will just know at that point.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the bat signal. Also, before I forget, before we hop into our bold predictions, John Warner, I'm doing a doubleheader with him tomorrow. We're going to do randomizer at 8, and the wheel is already packed. There's a lot of good stuff on there. And then immediately after, we're going to do a best ball after dark. Did one with John last summer, I think, beginning of the summer.
Yeah.
So it was due time for another. So if you're looking for more John Warner, and I know a lot of people are like, Pete, that's a question that no one was asking. You can get that tomorrow on my channel.
Well, I'll tell you, my biggest like apprehension when you asked about the randomizer was like, can I even fill a wheel? Does anyone give a fuck? Like, like I was kind of like, that was like one thing I was like a little scared of.
You would be surprised. That's what's so funny of like when I book the guests for the randomizer wheel, the most important thing is like how many like things do you have associated with your personal brand or bits or references that can pack the wheel. And you're doing just fine, John. You're doing just fine.
Well, actually, you know what? In that same vein, I got the scroll mug right here. I was thinking about some of the stuff, and like Pete, you're the king of this. Like you got the value hound, the 101 influencer, the thought leader, like the hot best ball summer. You got all these things. And then I was kind of thinking of some of the things that we've organically come up. And obviously it spiraled off of like the scroll the F down conversation from the other day or whatever. But then I was listening to Norris and Hayden the other day, and they're casually just 2 or 3 mentions in the program, platform of the people in reference to Underdog. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like this just kind of organically spins itself up.
It's fun. I mean, it's almost like I don't know, state sponsored media where it's just they just have it on like the sirens and then it just gets embedded into people's mind. I had a moment like that a while ago when, because over the years, Levitan is the king of, so many like DFS terminology things that we just all say that he just kind of spoke into existence. And to hear him on the ETR pods now saying servicing the audio listener always brings, I was like, finally, I could give one back after stealing your phrases for so long.
That's so true. I love it. I love the cyclical process of like this all. Like it's so fun.
Mm-hmm. I do think I should I've mentioned this before, and maybe I should just start the doc, but like make a big best ball glossary.
I was just thinking about that.
Because I just posted the video I just posted with Ron Stewart, and I had casually mentioned the star method, and everyone around here, knows what that is. But someone commented, "What's the star method?" Like, I think we sometimes forget we have all of these layers of inside jokes. And why would you know what the star method was unless you're grinding 100 hours of best ball YouTube content a week?
Yeah, it's so true.
I talk about going gritty mode to my friends and my homies, like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like,
sorry.
This kind of goes on the back of I don't know if you guys saw, I threw out a tweet this morning that was from the Hard Knocks from the other night where Drake May is going through and he's calling out all the plays and that sort of deal. And I was like, this is what it sounds like to your home league bros when we talk basketball. It didn't get nearly enough engagement. It was a great tweet, but like, that's exactly what this is, right? When you look at all these terminologies, we need a full put together. That's a great idea, Pete.
Well, I used to have in my head, like a couple years ago, like, I would tweet about my streams, but I wasn't making like a lot of inside baseball like best ball jokes on Twitter. Like I was doing the Best Ball Bros video, I would save them for there. But because in my head, it's like, this is so niche, like people on Twitter, it's like, let's just save it for the people who know about it on YouTube or whatever. And now you can just post the most, basic ass roster on X and get 100 likes in 43 minutes. It's like, no, feel free to let any inside baseball joke fly because there is an appetite and an audience for it now.
Yeah.
It's the new meta. I've gotten a lot of growth off Twitter in the last month just by let me just tweet about the best ball shit that I'm doing. And it's actually helped. So yeah, no, it's crazy the way that the space has grown. Pete, when you were given the intro, by the way, a little bit of a Freudian slip there, talk about these blown predictions. There's no way our hit rate's going to be so low on these, but we got to gal brain a little bit.
Every once in a while, the haters say that I script all those cold opens, so I have to flub it every once in a while to let them know that it's off the cuff. But yeah, today our thought Underdog had a tweet. Do you want to pull that up, John, to show kind of the inspiration for this? For this premise.
Give me 1 second here. Oh, I guess I put it in that Discord message there. Yeah, it was from the Underdog Drafts account, and it was on the back of one of the articles that was posted on Underdog Network there. Boom, we good? Yeah, yes. There we go. So people were just kind of layering on beneath this. It's already got 92 replies, which is really cool to see. I love the Zach Moss one at the top there as one of my highest owned running backs. But yeah, bold predictions for this season. And then people were just dropping their 3 favorites beneath it. So we thought, why not make a front end of a show out of it?
Yeah. Like I said at the top, there's only so much, game theory we can talk about every once in a while. Now that we're getting in July, we're getting to August, the player takes are starting to fly. The people want the hot takes. I even clicked on a thread. It wasn't someone I was familiar with, but they just had the 10, fantasy sleepers or whatever. And the amount of thirst in the mentions for who's this year's, whatever. It's like, we've now arrived at that point. People just want the player takes, baby.
Absolutely.
So let's see here. Who wants to kick us off? I mean, John, you called it the spicy margs. For people who don't know, that's a reference to whenever we would put Kyle Pitts in our pick'em entries on off and on the clock in the season, and you were always getting a 2x, 3x spicy multiplier on it. Is that was that the canary in the coal mine, or a little foreshadow of one of your predictions to come, John?
I think I want to go honorable mention on it. I think it would be, I have one that is way too on brand right now already, but I think I'll go honorable mention to Josh Jacobs and Kyle Pitts as 2 guys that we talk about way too much and I draft way too much on stream, but I'm not going to start there, Pete. I am going to start with a quarterback who is going to be playing on an up-tempo offense, an offense in which is missing their feature running back, which they loved to establish it. An offense that has a very good offensive line that threw a shit ton at the end of last year. And even when he was in there prior to getting hurt, they played very, very fast. I am going with Deshaun Masseuse redacted Watson. I think he has an opportunity. Despite Kitchen's tree and me trying to butter up to him, I have been clicking his name a lot. And I think he has the ability to return to those kind of Houston Texan era days.
I'm stunned by that. I mean, it's one thing when you're in the drafts and you're getting 20 picks at ADP value and you're like, fuck yeah, I'll put, I got money on this. I'll get Deshaun Watson on this team. This is like a free form exercise with no rules, no stakes. And you're kicking us off with the most persona non grata in the NFL space. I mean, I hope the karmic blowback, John, is immense. I hope it is swift. I hope all of your predictions go to shit.
that is a hell of a start.
The first one to start with. This guy comes out with Deshaun Watson, league winner. The guy who's just platform of the people. My God, John.
Unbelievable, right? I mean, you could have gone anywhere.
The platform of all people. You see, Pete? The platform of all people. We're embracing him back. He has paid for his mistakes. He's coming back.
You want to be part of the kitchen tree so bad, man. It's crazy.
I can't wait for round 2. Darius Hayward-Bay, on the John's bold prediction, comes back as a 1,000-yard season.
Stack him up with Tyreek Hill, Zeke Elliott, Joe Mixon, and Adrian Peterson in the last round. Here we go.
Man,
right.
Nez, sometimes they're like, how do I follow that? You just got to lay up. Whatever you say, Nez, is going to seem like such a slam dunk prediction.
I'll start with the most mild of my predictions, and that I actually am putting into practice as people see online and in drafts with me, and that's Bijan Robinson 101 overall this season. I think he finishes with the most fantasy points in fantasy football. And at this point in time, I have started to take him after Tyreek Hill. I'm just all in on him as RB1. And just thinking about this last night as I was putting together some teams, going through some slow drafts, and my running back rooms of my traditional 0 RB starts. Yeah, I've got touches there, guaranteed touches. Maybe 8 points, a game here and there. But Bijan, it's so clear cut and obvious. I mean, for God's sakes, he's a top 10 pick, right? So it's not that crazy. But everything I just see with Bijan in this upcoming situation in this upcoming season just screams this dude is going to go absolutely nuts. And I think we sort of forget, we just saw it last season with, pushing CMC to 3 and taking these wide receivers over somebody like CMC, who we knew had generational season outcomes, and just wishing that, wow, I wish I hadn't overthought this. I think that's what we're going to be doing with Bijan. And you can still draft structurally sound even when you take Bijan. Sure, you have to kind of like skip over Kyron or Achane if you really want to not get buried by an avalanche, but it is so doable. And I think the payoff for a Bijan smash season is it's very nice. So Bijan 101, baby.
I can definitely see it. I'm curious from your outlook on it sounds like you are drafting with this in mind. And does that trickle down into how you view the passing game, London, Pitts, Kirk, or is this like, are you in on the rising tide in Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm not massively overweight Drake London or Kyle Pitts or Cousins for that matter, but I do like the situation for the offense, and I do really, really like Drake London. And I mean, back-to-back seasons of 100 targets with the quarterbacks that he had, I think is really bullish whenever you now add in Kirk Cousins, who just gets his stars of the football. I am like very, very apprehensive on Kyle Pitts. That's the one that I think has the most to prove. Like, yeah, he had 1,000 yards his rookie season. I'm scared that maybe like Kyle Pitts has just tricked me. So that's one that I'm not.
We all are, buddy.
I'm not doing that again. Where I was over 20%. I'm going to be probably around 10% Kyle Pitts.
I mean, I don't think they're even the biggest Kyle Pitts bulls. I don't think we click Kyle Pitts and get this like warm, cozy, comforting feeling. Like we know we are signing up for a wild ass ride. Like that's when you click it, it is, I am doing something dangerous. This is the don't try this at home. But yeah, I never click that and think like, man,
well,
I
that's
just
good
made
to
the
know.
safest
I'm
pick.
I'm glad that you're not like fully delusional in that. That at least makes me feel better. I will say when I don't draft Bijan, I do take a lot of Algier as well. So that's, I guess, my way of like kind of hedging that bet. Which I mean, just because Bijan doesn't finish 101 doesn't mean Algier is a smash pick. But just to, for the people that are, aren't you worried? Like, yeah, anything can happen, but I've got an insurance policy in Algier, who I actually across all of my drafts have more of than Bijan at the moment, but I'm rapidly fixing that.
Yeah, but that makes sense because you're gonna, even if you are taking Bijan at an elevated clip, that might put your expectation over like what 20%. But even then, like you could take Algier in every draft if you wanted to. Like the RNG has nothing to do with it, so it makes sense. And I love that strategy in that I don't have any like super strong stands on the early running backs. But if I did, I would really want to backweight it where it's like if I'm massive on Rashad White, I want to be taking a lot of Bucky Irving in the drafts. I don't have him. If I'm massive on James Cook, a lot of Ray Davis. It's harder for me because I like all the cheaper guys. And so then circling back to get overweight on the more expensive is tougher. But I really think playing your biggest stands in a smart way when you don't get them in the other drafts makes a ton of sense.
Thank you.
All right. Is it my turn?
Sure is.
All right. So I've floated this take in a few spots, like kind of tentatively, but I'm putting it down in ink here. And this is even seeing the underdog one. Zach Moss is going to be this year's David Montgomery. And I'm saying, hold my beer. Let's spice this one up. My take is that this year, Chase Brown and Zach Moss are this year's Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. Zach Moss gets to the 20+ touchdowns. Chase Brown is the efficiency monster, drops a 40+ point game. All of the production funnels through these two. You wish you had both of these guys on teams together, and this offense just generates a shit ton of running back points, and these guys complement each other in the same way Achane and Mostert did.
That's a lot of fun. I was just joking to John about how I've yet to see a Chase Brown bull case tweet without that screen pass.
That one clip.
Yeah, it's always that one. I'm like, I get it. He looks fast, but like, what else we got, guys?
There's no Zach Moss highlight clips either. We're just all banking on the 1-yard touchdowns.
Didn't he have like a sick, like one-handed catch? Like you can at least like pretend that he's dynamic.
Yeah.
Dath, I protest here to remind everybody that he led the league in yards per carry through the first 8 weeks of last season. So they may not be one big explosion one, but at least he was getting multiple yards on each play.
Yeah,
that's true.
No, I do love and obviously the only thing that could throw a wrench in this is that, signing Samaje P. Ryan or some. If we can just keep it with just these two, I feel really good about it.
Yeah, and good segue on the Chase Brown stuff, because we talked about the only other clip that we've seen of him this year was him and Jamar Chase playing puck on the ice out there in Montreal. The Underdog Lobbies right now just dropped the Best Puck Classic there. So go ahead and jump in and be the first to draft that in honor of good Canadian kid Chase Brown. All right, back to the good stuff. Snake draft, like everything on the site. Pete, one more.
Okay. My final one is like a messier one, so I'll keep my second one here to be a little simple. And it's also a weird one because the comp is something that didn't happen, but you'll understand when I say it. This year, Ravens rookie wide receiver Devontae Walker is who we wanted Marvin Mims to be last year. And that's to say, because I feel like we haven't had that archetype come in. Maybe you guys can remind me of one where it's just like the true downfield speedster who just gets loose for a ton of touchdowns, super explosive. Honestly, kind of like Marquise Brown, like rookie year. We were talking about that game against the Dolphins in his debut. I just think he is going to get loose for so many touchdowns. I think it's the perfect fit in this offense, them needing this vertical threat. And I don't even think he has to be some massive target monster. I just think on the play action, this offense humming, he is going to spike for double-digit touchdowns and be an absolute advance rate monster where he's going.
I like the way that this is worded, just like comparing him to somebody who like didn't do what we wanted to do. So it's like, it's
but isn't that like who we thought Mims was going to be last year in that offense?
Especially because we saw it we did see it like early with Mims. That is true. I guess we did see it like once or twice where it's like, wow, Mims is this awesome downfield threat. No, I think the shades of rookie season Hollywood Brown would be awesome for Walker. And I don't think it would take that much for him to do that. Like, they keep, God bless the Ravens for, because Bateman must just have like very low confidence in himself because they just keep pumping him up. Like, you can do it, Bateman. Like, I know this is your season, buddy. But
did you see his hype video, Nez?
He has one?
Well, there was a hype video that dropped like the other day, and he's just doing like stationary jumps over hurdles, and he was just boom, 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 bunny hops across the way, and that was the bullish news recently for Bateman.
Yeah, so I don't think Devontae Walker has a high bar to clear to end up being this guy.
Yeah, and I feel like they've just been looking for him for a while.
Clearly,
and I just think and if you are playing like my kind of macro thing about the Ravens in general, and why I have a ton of, Lamar and Andrews too, is just like their defense was really good last year. The receiving game really didn't ever get humming. And I think if the defense regresses a little bit, if they just get some more shootouts, like I think we could see a lot more fireworks all over the offense. And I don't know, I'm kind of bearish on it being Bateman and just feeling like if it happens, some other guy's going to step up. That's going to be Devontae Walker with Andrews and Flowers.
Low key one that nobody ever talks about is Devin Duvernay leaving actually as like a field stretcher guy. That actually kind of matters for who's going to run those type of routes too.
Right. And that's what's kind of fun. I was considering doing like a Jalen McMillan one. I mean, there's a lot of these late guys who should be on the field right away, which makes it fun, right? Like, it's not fun to do a Ricky Pearsall prediction because you're like, well, there's an injury and then blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I think Devontae Walker could be on the field if he has a really good camp and 3 wide receiver sets off the rip.
It's interesting that you brought up the Pearsall one because one of my ones that I was entertaining was that he would be outscored by Juwan Jennings this year.
Oh, that's a sad one. I hope
that
that's
is
not
sad.
true, but
Man, you just got me like really wish casting there, Pete. If we could get the Ravens defense to be what the Eagles defense was last year, how just unbelievably overpowered every matchup the Ravens would be for fantasy every week. You would just be targeting the Ravens every single week, and that would just be so unfair, but so good for my Houston and Ravens pairings that I seem to do every time I enter a draft.
Yep. All right, Nez, snake draft. Who are you going in the second round with?
So this prediction here is Calvin Ridley is going to finish as a top 25 wide receiver in fantasy. That sounds like, oh, come on, you can get a little bit more crazy than that. But he is going at wide receiver 35, and any piece of content that you listen to thinks that Calvin Ridley should be outside of like the top 100 ADP. Nobody believes that Calvin Ridley, a guy who, he was suspended, but in the last 2 seasons that he played, almost amassed 300 targets total in those 2 seasons, can be a good wide receiver. I just simply rebuke that statement. This is a very, very affordable price for Calvin Ridley, and I think he is clearly a good wide receiver, clearly a good football player. Wasn't efficient as we had hoped last season, but I still think when you get 130 targets and you have speed that can lead to 20-plus point games, which he did do last season still, in an offense that clearly has faith, whether it's blind faith or just, it's Will Levis or bust. They have faith that they can score points on offense. They've done nothing but add weapons to this team. And if all things work out, man, Calvin Ridley, I think, is going to have this level of season. And I think he has top 10 wideout potential if things truly break all of Tennessee's way. Obviously, Will Levis is a skeleton key here, and he is the big problem. But there are bets to make where you have Calvin Ridley, who has target competition with Hopkins, but that's it, versus Jaden Reed, who Jaden Reed goes ahead, has a better quarterback. Jaden Reed did show good skills, but there are 4 really good wide receivers in Green Bay, and we're taking Jaden Reed for the situation over Calvin Ridley when how often, man, do we see in fantasy where, we overthink situation and talent wins out? I think it happens more than we realize.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good, Nez. I hadn't heard the bull case argument for Calvin Ridley yet. I like this one that Davis adds in here too, is like he was going in the 70s beforehand, but the team had no defense. They're likely going to play up tempo. They're putting so much trust in Levis, and they're going to likely be playing from behind, and that's a good thing for, the passing game, right?
Right. I think the
counter
top
10 wide receiver, by the way. Chat's ripping me a new one. Sorry, Pete.
Let's go. Top 10.
Well, two things. One, we were just on the Swolecast, and I was like, I have not heard the Calvin Ridley bull case. Like, what is propping up his ADP? We now have Nez, and then I was also alerted that the fantasy footballers have been pumping Calvin Ridley.
Oh, baby. Andy Holloway with me?
I think that's what's keeping it up. The only thing, like that comment you just pulled up, like that stuff also all applies to DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like any of the environmental stuff. And I think that's the hard thing with Ridley is like you look at everything from an efficiency and metric standpoint, and like Hopkins was better last year. So to me, that's the hard thing of taking him ahead of Hopkins. But I definitely buy the Tennessee environment being very friendly for wide receivers.
I'm
hoping.
This is gonna round counter to me playing the hits right here with who's coming next.
Let's go.
Do we know who's already coming?
I thought we were about to type Tom Brady.
Tony redacted.
Tony redacted. Okay. He's hurt all of last year, right? He's only 27 years old. He's returning. He's a Memphis, Tennessee guy. He's returning to play for his hometown, right? He's coming in here, Tennessee. Puts together his 3rd straight 100K rushing, or 1K rushing yard season there. He returns 3rd round value. He's going as like RB30 right now. I think RB29 this morning. He's going to be involved in the pass game, even if they go really pass heavy. Whom is the coordinator that set up the most expected fantasy points over the last 3 years for a running back? Well, that's Brian Callahan with the Bengals in Joe Mixon, right? We wanted Joe Mixon to convert on those expected fantasy points over and over again, despite them being a crazy pass first and up-tempo offense. Tony Redacted converts on those expected fantasy points. He's the guy you need in those 0 RB builds as your second running back, third running back.
I like how Nez's bold predictions have like Bijan overall running back 1, top 10 wide receiver. Mine have these elaborate comparisons, and John's just like, here's the player. The player.
Here's the guy.
They do good. Give us the prediction. What is Tony Redacted finishing? Top 12 RB?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, I said returns third round value. So
okay.
Yeah, top 10, top 12, something like that.
Well, only like 3.5 running backs go in the top 3 rounds. So that would make it like
true,
RB4.
That's true. Traditional top 3 round RB. I don't know. I think here's the other like case scenario. Like I think it can break 2 ways. It breaks that way and they're successful in passing the ball and the expected fantasy points are there because they're in scoring position. If it breaks the wrong way and they're say 3-3 through 6 games and they go, hey, we got an outside chance at the playoffs and stuff like this. He just looks down the bench and he sees his father, Bill Callahan, who is the offensive line coach. And he just goes, Dad, what should we do? And he goes, son, establish it behind this offensive line in which I have created for you for big gap runs. And then they establish it. He goes, yes, Dad, we are going to establish it.
Yes, Dad.
These are the 2 paths.
That's also the same conversation Arthur Smith always had with his father.
Right.
Yes, Dad.
I don't know that they talked at all. I think that's why Arthur Smith is the way that he is. John, I love this take. I'm at 12% Tony Pollard, which, 4% above average. But I want to continue to take Tony Pollard. It's kind of surprising to me that him and Tyjae Spears go so closely together. And Tony Pollard has said that he wasn't fully healthy last year. And when he did finally say he was fully healthy, we saw better results from him. I think this is somebody that we are just like very much misinterpreting in the market. And I mean, he's going to be the, RB1 and get a lot of work, a lot of valuable work. And at his ADP, I think he's like no doubt a value for us. Sorry, there is no take. No, so man, and when you look at the AFC North schedule too, I mean, in their division, they've got some very, very strong offenses in that division. The Texans, they're gonna and the Jaguars, spoiler alert, and the Colts with Anthony Richardson. And divisional opponents for the AFC South, they play the NFC North, some real heavy hitters there with the Packers and the Lions and the Vikings and even the Bears this season. Those are all potential really high scoring matchups. And then they get the AFC East, so you have a little bit of Bills and Dolphins mixed in there too with these opponents. So their schedule, I mean, just from a season-long perspective, is very bullish in my opinion. I mean, we can only forecast so much here until we actually get football. But yeah, I really like this Tony Pollard take.
Ooh, thank you, Nez. You got anything on Tony Redacted?
I also like it as well. I take similar to the Chase Brown and Moss. I would say the Pollard and Spears combo is also one of my favorites, and I like grabbing a ton of both of those guys. What's your third here?
I don't know. I'm on fire in the chat here. Guys are smoking me. I'm not even sure I want to say it yet. I might go 3rd round reversal on this and just let you go.
3rd round reversal.
I don't think you'll get sniped by me.
Okay. Kyron and Cup is who we all want Brees and Wilson and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs to be. And it's available in the 2nd and 3rd round over and over again.
Okay. I like that take. I mean, it's not necessarily that spicy based on I guess the Cup part is kind of the spicy part, right? Well, yeah, you're saying that you think Cup should be going in the middle of round 1 or Kyron should be going there?
I think just based on the landscape of drafting, Cup and then Kyron should be a round 2 pick adjacent to him. Yeah. And I mean, I don't rule out the possibility that this could be Puka plus Kyron as well. Like, I'm not that bullish, but like, if you can give me Kyron plus Cup over and over again in the second and third round, I'm going to just keep taking it. So
yeah,
that's kind of where
and that they're kind of like the, again, the Dolphins thing where it was just like Miami running back, Miami wide receiver every week. Like those are just hitting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it, John.
I like it.
It is spicy. I mean, I think with Kyron, definitely, like, what is holding Kyron back right now is it's definitely the injury risk, right? More, or is it Blake Corum? I think it's the injury risk, right? Which, I mean, that seems like a poor bear case in my opinion. I would love to have more Kyron Williams, but I just simply don't. I'm 13%, so not bad, but it's really hard to get like obviously I'd love these top end running backs. It's just hard to get as much as you would like. You do have to respect the landscape at some point.
Yeah. I think the spice associated with this is the fact that you can't pair those other two groupings together, but you can pair this one together routinely. And I just think they're going to play so much faster, so many more plays, and they're going to play from sets where the two of them are going to be on the field, like Cup's case, like 90+%, and Kyron at like 80% kind of deal. Yeah, a lot of 3 wide receiver sets for that team. I don't know. I'm just bullish Rams, I guess.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it as well.
I'm going to get us back on track with some spice.
Yeah, let's do it.
The Jacksonville Jaguars lead the NFL in touchdowns scored this season.
Oh, because they finally got rid of the Calvin Ridley dead weight.
Yeah, that's right. Remove Calvin Ridley, insert Brian Thomas Jr.
I like this one. Go off.
And now, so I think this offense is just very, very good. The more I think about these Jags, the more I want more and more Trevor Lawrence. Like right now, I'm sitting at 10% Trevor Lawrence. I need to strongly increase that. I think we are due for regression for Trevor Lawrence to have some good luck. All you hear from, very smart people that talk about football is, Trevor Lawrence got a little unlucky with the touchdowns. He had a lot of touchdowns dropped in the end zone, and that they promised you. It's like, oh, it's the no ball test. Do you think Trevor Lawrence is good or bad? You don't know ball if you don't think he's good based on his numbers. Well, this is definitely like the year. Just got his big contract, and the weapons I think are very strong. I am very bullish on Christian Kirk, and I think it tied into this hot take. I almost made Gabe Davis the hot take in and of himself, and I'm like, I like the Jags in general. Gabe Davis will have his best season this year with Trevor Lawrence, as opposed to the years that he's had with Josh Allen. I think that he's flashed us these insane ceiling outcomes. Obviously, we saw it in the playoffs in that big breakout game, and we were at one point that at post that breakout, we were drafting Gabe Davis in like the top 70. It was pretty gross. It was pretty bad, but we were. And putting him with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think is a downgrade as far as a passer goes. Josh Allen's fun for fantasy, but I think Trevor Lawrence can still get Gabe Davis home. So Gabe Davis, one of my favorite clicks right now, and I think he helps lead the Jaguars to the league lead in touchdowns scored on offense.
One thing I liked about the fit with both Gabe and Brian Thomas is like last year we would come on the show when we were doing off and on the clock, and I'd just be so frustrated with how they were running their offense, and they were just making Calvin Ridley run these just deep routes, like no creativity, no scheming. That would only be like little dink and dunk stuff for Evan Ingram or Kirk underneath. Like, so what do? They go in and bring in like 2 really big, fast, athletic guys. So I'm like, we don't have to wish cast the offense necessarily getting way more creative. It's just like, okay, now they have some horses that can do what they want to do and get down the field. Like both of these guys, I think can get more separation on the outside than Calvin Ridley. So I am very excited to see this. I want to see more creativity for ETN too, but this does feel like, that volcano that's just kind of percolating. Like all the elements are there. Maybe it doesn't happen this year, but like the stew is cooking.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I'm excited about this team.
The cul-de-sac narrative is going to come in huge too with this one. How many more teams are going to all start living in the same cul-de-sac together if this does come true?
Wait, I've missed this one. How have I missed this? Who's living in the cul-de-sac?
Kirk, Lawrence, and Peterson all live in the same like cul-de-sac together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I'm out of my narrative street game apparently.
That one's an ETR special.
Okay. Mine does involve a little bit of bearishness on BT, but this is kind of like a weird macro take. And this is in round 6 right now, there are some ADP twins of rookie wide receivers and second year guys. And my bold prediction is that the second year guys absolutely smash these rookies. So I'm talking about Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison, and JSN versus Rome, Ladd McConkey, and Brian Thomas. And this is you've seen me draft these rookies a million times, but I'm way more overweight on these second year guys. And I feel like we talk about different macro trends in the market and people reacting to things. And I think when people like push back on like rookie enthusiasm, like to me, I like less push back on it with the Harrison and Neighbors stuff because of who those guys are as prospects. It's been some of these other guys that I think have slightly shakier profiles than their ADP indicates, and more similar profiles to a lot of the guys like Polk and Leggett who are going much later. And then I look at what Jordan Addison did and Rashee Rice, and I just think these guys are just primed for massive years without near as many question marks. And then obviously JSN has a little bit more of a uncertainty to it, but I'm going with this bold prediction that drafters will massively regret taking too many of these rookies and not enough of the second year breakouts.
Yeah. The Rome ADP, I think, is still rich. DJ Moore and Keenan Allen there are just absolute target monsters. It's going to be tough for Rome to pay off that ADP without any sort of contingency is sort of how I think about it, just because I'm not counting out Keenan Allen as what he does, which is just amass 120 plus targets when he's on the field. Now he does have an injury history. So if something obviously were to happen, then Rome's contingency value is humongous, but DJ Moore has always been a very, very good wide receiver. He's been a great wide receiver for his entire career. He's just had some of the worst situations imaginable. Now getting Caleb Williams there, it's going to be not just completely pick on Rome here as far as your take goes, but I think Rome is definitely a tough click for me. And you see it on other websites, like everyone's like, oh my gosh, you can get Rome in picks 80. Maybe take a little tip from the casuals here and tone it down on the Rome bullishness. And Rome also goes in like picks 80 and like weekly winners as well. So if you want to do some Rome stuff, you could do it in other contests. I really agree with you, which maybe doesn't mean this is spicy, but I think Jordan Addison is definitely a better click for me than some of those rookies.
And I think if I had to further tag like that and make it a little spicier, it's that like Polk outscores Ladd, Xavier Leggett outscores Keon Coleman, like guys from that range that I think it's more like 50-50. If you gave me that bucket of those later, double digit rookies and then those 6th, 7th round guys, I just don't think they're that different bets. You're paying a pretty big landing spot premium essentially for them there.
What draft are we in, by the way, John?
We're in BBM 5. There's 3 more spots available.
I've heard of it.
There. No, I like that one a lot, actually. Now that you think about it, like, okay, so like obviously baked into the Rice price is the suspension stuff, but like Addison played really well last year. Obviously the touchdown variance was insane in his favor, but there's no reason to think like some of that production numbers don't push up without TJ Hawkinson there for the beginning of the year too. And I don't think that's baked into his price enough. And then JSN, new coaching staff, etc. Like they've been nothing but bullish thus far. Another year for Tyler Lockett, age cliff kind of thing. I don't know. This one makes like intuitive, logical sense. And I'm shocked I haven't thought of it. You know what I mean? Like just looking at it like this, it's so simplistically intelligent.
Thank you. That's I hope that's on my tombstone. Simplistically intelligent. I'm working on another video right now on the Deposit Kingdom that'll probably be ready next week, where I'm going to do my favorite pick in every round. And I'm using kind of like my exposures as like a guide, right? Like who are the guys that I'm clicking, and just note the other guy I almost included. And I got a little chicken because I love Xavier Worthy, but I was going to include Jaden Reed over Xavier Worthy. But then I sectioned it off to just the 6th round guys.
Smart.
and I'm too scared because I love Xavier Worthy to fire that off. But I also like Jaden Reed a lot. I just think I love those second year guys. I mean, it's like all of the benefits of like what a young wide receiver can offer us, but with the confirmation that they can do it. And yes, you can nitpick the JSN part of that, but all of those other guys, Addison, Rice, Reed, I mean, those guys were awesome last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, John, I don't know if you had any honorable mentions, but I do have an honorable mention.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be redacted from the list.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Chubb outscores Marshawn Lloyd this season. You guys can tell me if this is spicy or not. I feel like it is spicy considering that they go next to one another. We are on the clock. I see that.
Is this where we finally give Nez his flowers and take Bijan Robinson ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown?
We can do Bijan. Maybe this draft, kind of how we do challenges on the Swolecast, or I've been doing the perfect draft on Deposit Kingdom. Maybe we try to weave in some of our player take bold predictions here.
Let's do it.
All right, Nez, just for you, buddy.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. It's tough, going over Amon-Ra, who's going to smash, but yeah.
I mean, we've said so much bullish stuff about like their implied team totals and this and that. Like it feels so much harder to click Bijan over Justin Jefferson and Chase and Tyreek for me than it does Amon-Ra. I mean, for some reason, it feels harder to click him over AJ Brown too to me, but like that might just be a bearish Amon-Ra take for no reason. But yeah.
Do you guys
think... sorry, Ness. Oh,
no, Pete, good.
Oh, no. Sorry. Mine's going to take us on a slightly different tangent, although it is relative to round one. I was just going to say, I think there's a lot of room in round 2 and 3 for the board to get shaken up a little bit here in training camp. Do you guys envision any big shakeups in round 1, or do you think this is pretty solidified?
I think you're going to see Bijan's team. I think we will eventually see Bijan overtake Amon-Ra. I don't think he can overtake Jefferson and Chase. But I think as the drumbeat gets louder and louder for Bijan's upcoming season, as more casuals get into the drafts, I think you're going to see Bijan move up a pick. After that, the first round seems really, really solidified as we see Chris Olave go pick 11. But
yeah, I could see that. I think that's probably the most safe thing. Couple of the running backs move up. I will not be shocked if like Barkley is like a 110 or a 111.
Yeah.
Who do you guys like next? We got Ayuk, Samuel, Mike Evans. We could do the Barkley, Taylor, something like that.
Maybe Ayuk.
Yeah, let's do a Niners wide receiver.
You guys have a preference here?
I do a ton of Debo and Bijan, so let's do Ayuk. I like my Jacquard score on those is got to be just a little red dot on those teams. It's too much.
To your question there, Pete, I think you could see a little bit of Jets fall, guys, if like Rodgers, doesn't look himself. Like they don't play him until the third preseason game. We haven't seen the first team offense, like that sort of thing. People start realizing how slow they're going to play. That sort of thing. I think you could potentially see a little bit of fall like that where some, maybe some Gibbs, maybe some Saquon, maybe some Taylor start jumping Breece a little bit. I know our community and like this kind of like analytical people love the Breece stuff, but I could see something like that. I could see Puka coming back a little bit as Kupp and Kyron go up. People start taking shots on like Olave like we see here or some other ones. Those are the first two that come to mind.
Yeah, I think those ones, make sense. I can see Puka. Puka's already been sliding a little bit more in drafts of all the guys. Like AJ Brown never slides to like 112, but you'll get drafts where you can get Puka at 112 occasionally. So I think that checks out for me. I wonder if we'll ever see a Marv fall or if it just won't happen.
I think we could. That's someone that I could totally see falling just because people get a little skittish on a rookie wide receiver. But people do seem, fearless on the Cardinals offense, which I think is being drafted a little bit ahead of what the market or market being projections are saying about the Cardinals offense. But I am like a little more confident in them than those projections personally. I think second round, John and I kind of talked about it a little bit behind closed doors. It's like I think Kupp can rise too, but maybe that's just, just me.
You guys
What do you
want
guys
to
like here?
stare down the barrel of a double running back start here and give John his guy Kyron and see if we can dig it out?
You know I do.
Let's do it.
That feels super fun. Bijan and Kyron on the same team feels awesome.
The thesis of the Kyron Cup and like that sort of stuff is like the ultimate picture. This like it's week 17. Like who the hell would you rather have? Like Jalen Waddle going into Cleveland, where they're potentially like Cleveland's potentially battling for a playoff spot. They have the same kind of like decent defense that they had last year. There's potentially weather involved. Or we're playing week 17 battle royale and we have a dome game against a 5-win Arizona team. And you can go with this up-tempo Rams offense and their 2 concentrated stars.
You make a compelling point, even though we just saw 2 backups from Jets and Browns put up like the most points in week 17 at Cleveland last year, but you do make a strong, compelling point. I did want to just detour real quick. 2 things, guys. If you are watching us and you haven't liked the video, please like the video. Helps us out. Share all that stuff. Subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. We do appreciate you guys being here. Secondly, Hope's dropping some hot fire in the lobbies while we're in here drafting a BBM, guys.
What happened?
We've got the Hound Dog 2, which is a 5-entry max $6 tournament with 20-second and 30-second clocks. We have a Pug, the second Pug, which is a 3-entry max $12 entry, fast drafts only as well. And then we have a single entry Golden 3 up. So have at it. This is
love it.
This is fun.
That's sweet.
How much is the single entry?
$10 with 25K to first.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, this cadence of the Wednesday drops and stuff. It's so wild to me that it was like, what, all those other contests were dropped on 4th of July, right? That was on Thursday. Like it hasn't even been. It was
4th of July, yeah.
Yeah. And I burned through all of those over the weekend and everyone just sitting around like, what am I supposed to do?
Here's a little alpha for you badge heads out there. Wait for like 75% full on the Golden 3. It's going to take a little bit of while because the liquidity gets, drier and drier as you get done, but you're going to draft with people you have never seen in your entire life. If you wait for like 75% full and all the freaks and the regulars get their entries out of the way, you can have some fun in those lobbies.
That's so true. Quick, unreg.
that was what I was saying recently of how I was so excited about all the fast clocks, and then I was like, I bet none of the sharps are getting in the 30-second ones, so hop in those instead.
Yeah, that's a good take. Yeah, here we go. We got 20 and 30-second options for the Hound Dog.
Yeah, very nice.
15 and 30 for the Pug. Love it.
Right,
we're gonna be back up here. Yeah, we started out with this 2-1. A lot of green in our face here. Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Hollywood Brown, tight end. We could do the Trey McBride correlation and really bury ourselves. What do you guys like?
Yeah, I don't feel like reaching for a wide receiver here, but it's going to get gross if we don't. Put McBride. I would be fine if you want to like pull up
Terry
or star like 3 times.
Let's just do McBride. It feels rough. But this is what we did to ourselves.
We'll start pissing soon. We'll hit it with volume. I mean, Tyler Lockett is already on this team. Cortland Sutton's already on this team. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks, I've been low-key trying to get a little bit more. Jerry Jeudy, I've been low-key getting a little more, but that's
we know, John. We know you're getting that Jerry Jeudy, man.
Perception be damned. He can run routes.
No, we'll see. We'll see what because Crash Rich might take a detour here. That would be nice. Anthony Richardson. Okay. If we did go wide receiver instead of McBride, would you guys have gone Terry? Because I think I would have maybe thrown my hat in the ring for Keenan Allen. Just based on profile, but
I was gonna float pulling up my guy Jaden Reed all the way to the 4th, but I thought that might be a tough sell.
No, I like Jaden Reed. Like I think wide receiver room be damned. He was just awesome. I don't know. I just love hyper efficient guys like that, which can be a little trappy, but man, Jaden Reed was so damn good last year. And second year breakout, like we used to be like all over the second year breakout guys. And I think Jaden Reed gets a little bit of a discount because there's a lot of other guys there. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe fair.
Yeah.
I think
It
I
is-
would have been
it's-
with you, Nez, with the Keenan Allen one.
Yeah. Keenan's another one of my most drafted guys, though, in the 5th round. But so
That was so funny
I
when we looked at the queue real quick. Sorry, you
didn't see
gave
anything.
you said, well, when we looked at the queue before we picked Trey Bride, you're like, oh god, it was almost like directly ripped from the wide receiver avalanche video at the end.
Yeah. I'm ending up with, I love Trey McBride. He's definitely one of my favorite players, but I feel like I'm ending up with even more of him than I'm comfortable, because it's like I take him in those flat spots of the room, and then the other times he slides. He'll like slide to me at the 4-5 turn. I'm like, fine, I'm taking Trey McBride again. Can we get Keenan to fall here?
I don't know, not anymore after you said it.
Well,
Hopefully
12
there's a 10
seconds.
second
They're on a
delay.
slight delay.
Neo is definitely seeing something here. The Mr. Matrix here is
If this is a slow roll timeout,
There we
it's
go.
Spicy marks.
let's go. I think I
Now-
like Keenan here for this team.
Can I
Yeah.
offer you guys Josh Jacobs honorable mention, 3 running backs, and shut it down?
No,
Not without a wide
they
receiver
beat
too.
out.
Not
No, I'll
without a
shut
wide
you
receiver
down.
too. You
I'll shut
can't
your
do that
face
with
down.
elite tight end. I don't think.
Yeah.
No, I was fully tongue in cheek there. It would be way too far, I think. That was nice though that this kind of worked out in our best interest here, that the other side of the board, 3 tight ends and 3 quarterbacks and 2 running backs went. So I mean, we almost got our pick between Jaden Reed and Keenan Allen, who we would have reached for here, and then Trey wouldn't have come back. We would have been having the Kyle Pitts Atlanta conversation, or we probably would have doubled up at wide receiver there.
Yeah, I'm glad we stayed patient there. Good job, us.
Yeah, I think Keenan is a good pick on this team too, just because I do, spike weeks, are going to be variant for him, but I do think he's going to have a lot of volume. Very, very confident that Keenan is not falling off a cliff here. I mean, he hasn't done it yet, and his profile is just kind of funny. Just not a hyper athletic guy. Just gets open all the time and gets the ball all the time.
Yeah.
There's some love going on in the chat here for 2 starts. Easy said the optimal start through 3 rounds is what Crash Rich has right now, with that Tyreek, Debo, Mike Evans, and then he added on Pacheco and Andrews. And then Fully Loaded is getting some love for the double Detroit stuff, which you don't see very often. You get an Armoroff fall and a
that's
Gibbs
hard.
fall. Yeah, and then he stacks it up with a Kelsey plus Mahomes fall, because A-Rich goes in front, and nobody on the left side of the board did the Hollywood or Worthy plus Mahomes stack.
So what I'm seeing is this room isn't hard to navigate for anyone other than us. Just must be nice.
And it's because we did it to ourselves is the worst point.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Just 'cause we had some bold predictions. No, I do like
We're all looking for the guy.
the benefit of taking those 3 straight wide receivers there is like it gives you max flexibility. If the value's the wide receiver, you can keep taking them. And if it gets sped off the board, then it's like, all right, boom, Mark Andrews, awesome tight end 1, Pacheco, awesome RB1 value in the early second. It just like allows you to play things from a flexibility standpoint.
We've got our guy Star Tours in here in the 12 hole, just putting on a piss fest. Have you gave much thought, Pete, as far as like the 12 hole and the difficulty it feels to draft from that position, as far as how you like to attack drafts from that spot?
Yeah, maybe I'm just I'm not trying to sound like, oh, I can draft good from anywhere, but
No,
it doesn't. I will admit I don't love my first or my second round pick as much, right?
Yeah.
But like to me, the third, fourth
You don't have a
round
problem with it?
isn't too much different for me. Like I just
Okay.
don't mind it. Obviously there's the rooms where like Higgins, Zay, Tank, all those guys are off the board, but like I have no problem, grabbing like Laporta will often fall in that spot if those wide receivers are getting pushed up. I don't know. It doesn't bother me quite as much. I also like the flexibility on the 5, 6, 7, 8 turn too. So I don't know. I feel like I find something to like from that spot. We got to get my guy Rome here, right? Even though we have Keenan, we make the bet on Keenan. We get the Jordan Addison.
Wait, do you want Addison or Rome?
I want Addison. I just gave a hot take that
you were reading Rome's name and said Rome, so I wasn't.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. This is perfect. We're like, it's just basically one of your Deposit Kingdom videos on off and on the clock here, just doing everything that we talked about. That's great.
Just clip this shit together and let it get 30 views.
Well, this actually is an interesting like game theory discussion, right? Where a lot of times I think there's two ways you could play that spot, right? Where you say, hey, I just want to correlate on this Bears team. Caleb's legit. Give me two of the wide receivers. We got Keenan. Let's throw Rome on. I completely buy that argument. I think there's also an interesting more like, if this happens, in what scenarios is Rome not the optimal pick here? It's like, well, Keenan just continues what he's always done, doesn't get hurt, and just dominates targets on this team. With Caleb, does that come at the expense of Rome? It doesn't necessarily have to, but how do you guys think through that as far as, because I guess you have that spot in other parts of the draft too, like a Tyreek Waddle, where it's like, yes, they're correlated from a season-long standpoint perhaps, but do you maybe worry about like the high-end outcomes in those scenarios?
Definitely with the Bears stuff, I do, because of like just the overarching uncertainty of like new coach, rookie quarterback, all three of those wide receivers never played together before, like bringing that all in there, that I do think like the outcome of ceilings will like negatively correlate. But like if I'm doing it with like a team that plays more, presumably plays more like three wide receiver sets, like I would just lump on pieces. But because of the price point, I think I would always gravitate to the Addison pick there.
I agree. It just feels really thin. Maybe, getting it once in your BBM portfolio and like calling it like, okay, I have my massive Bears bet on this team and I don't have to do it ever again. It would be the only time that I would really advocate doing it, just because I just think there's a lot of ways that can, cannibalize itself. And that can happen with a lot of teams, right? Not just something like the Bears too, where we really don't know how aggressive they will be in the passing game. That can happen with my Jags bet. That can happen if you do Addison and Jefferson. A lot of different teams that can impact itself. I think if you are doing that, you are almost, not necessarily saying that DJ Moore, gets hurt or something, but you could sort of play it that way and then also attack on Cole Kmet too and just say, hey, this sucks, but something happens to DJ Moore here and I have the team that capitalizes. But that's a very boring and not fun way to play this.
I think it's also a little bit too of a good small field versus large field lotto conversation, where the super small field, I do think you go Rome there. BBM though, I think it tilts to the non.
Yep. Classic John point of that. These tournaments need to be played differently.
I would vote Kyler and stack it up with the McBride thing.
Yeah. I think Kyler, Najee is not necessary here. Kyler, we're going to feel a lot better about this team if we draft Kyler right here when it's all said and done.
Kyler's also nice because I think, both Wilson and Dortch are viable late backdoor stacks as well. Zay as well. So having like a lot of options on a wide receiver thirsty team, I think is going to be nice too.
Love it. We got a super chat here coming in. CPW7 asking a BBM5 strategy question. Thank you for your contributions here. Nez, why don't you field this one because it is Steelers adjacent. Stacking Russ plus Fields with the last two picks, doing a hero core QB build. So I imagine you end up with 3 QBs, but you spend 2 spots on the Pittsburgh ones and then correlating with some pass catchers early on. Thoughts? Is it a waste of a roster spot? Do you like doing it? Would you rather just pick one? What do you got?
Yeah, I would not recommend doing that. I think when you're playing best ball, you really need to just think this pick is the correct pick, and hedging your bet, especially at quarterback, where you can only start one and you are literally guaranteeing a 0 on your roster by taking both, is not the way to play best ball. So if that's something that is like kind of difficult to grasp, I would just think about the bet that you're making when you are entering a draft and drafting a team and knowing that you can draft more. You don't like, if you really like the Steelers, but you don't know which one to pick, you can do a team with Russ, enter another draft, and then do a team with Fields. Do it that way. Don't do it both on one team. And again, that is not recommended to be taking Steelers quarterbacks in general. I am, doing that sparingly.
Yep.
Star Tours finally gets his first running back there with Stevenson. Still feels like a nice price on Stevenson, considering we were taking him in the 3rd round last year.
Yeah, especially after signing the contract. Like just a little more, like, I don't know, a little more solidified, I guess. Like they gave good money to Antonio Gibson, but like them re-upping him is just kind of like, okay, cool. This isn't like potentially a split field, like backfield.
It could be a fun exercise to like look at some of these, guys that have ADP differences from last season to this season of greater than like 40 spots, and then asking like what's changed. Because, as far as what changed with Stevenson, Antonio Gibson is there, but not a whole lot really changed. I mean, you can't, I guess, totally negate the results that are that are affecting that, but as far as like what changed and what we thought about a player once upon a time, could be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a good exercise. I mean, you can't negate the fact that they underperformed last year as a whole, and he was a part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just in general, I think it'd be a fun exercise for us to do. I'm thinking wide receiver here, guys. Palmer gives us an out at another quarterback there. Sutton is kind of first in ADP. Curtis Samuel, Lockett. I'm good with any.
I've been leaning into Sutton lately. What do you think, Pete? I'm not like pot committed to Sutton.
Honestly, let's take Warren.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Someone has been
for RB Summer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel my thought is like, I guess not that the people behind us have a ton of wide receivers. I would have liked to have seen some more like 5 wide receiver starts where people are circling back, but I don't know. I get kind of stubborn in these spots. I don't mind Sutton and Lockett. I think they make a ton of sense, but I'm also just like, Warren doesn't normally slip like this. Like he's normally one of the first of the guys to go, and getting him paired with this start, like he's the perfect kind of RB3 or 4 on a hyper fragile build. And if we are heading down that path, I'd rather just keep making the best pick and then just know like, yeah, we're going to hammer a ton of correlation, ton of rookies, ton of flyers. Let's just do it.
Yeah, in a vacuum, Warren is totally the best pick there. So and you can still afford.
He said astutely with his Steelers hat on and his hand on his chin.
Come on, man! I'm not even that overweight my Steelers this season. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Get you.
I gotta get you. In round 8, considering it was RB3, I think best player available there still makes sense. Like anytime that the pick that you are making can still fit into your starting lineup, I think you just go with it and then adjust from there. Auga, I'm like the cartoon wolf.
What a ship chaser has 3 wide receivers through 8 routes. That's not something that normally.
That's why we do this on our show and not the other shows.
Exactly.
I mean, it is really doubling down on our strat, right? Because the last thing in the world we want to do is kind of like spend this upper echelon capital at running back and then feel obligated to take 5, right?
Yeah. I think it definitely opens the door for one less in this build. We don't have to force the 4th, but
and if you 2v2, like there was a chance Samuel or Sutton comes back, there's a chance Lockett comes back. Like if you 2v2 like that player in the 8th round,
right,
with like versus the maybe dust ball running backs that we would take in the 18th that would score zeros for us, like Estem or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, like you open yourself up to safer picks in the 17th and 18th round instead of, like you said, going for, likely zeros,
right.
Barring contingency, which checks out with the, a lot of baseball research.
Oh, we were so close.
I know.
I didn't even want to show the board.
Yeah.
What do you think about Shaheed here? Sorry, John, what were you saying?
I'm good with Palmer or Shaheed. I think I like the backdoor stack equity of Palmer more.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking through if we want to set up something there.
I'm no stranger to Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Man, Burrow.
Let's do our 2v2 there, right? It's like who maybe we do. It's like Sutton Pollard versus Warren Palmer. I mean, that's pretty even.
Yeah, Pollard. Yeah, Pollard being there.
Yeah.
that's pretty.
I think I
sure.
prefer the Pollard Sutton side, but that's because I'm a little more bullish on both of them and a little more down on the Warren side than most people are.
I'm trying to talk myself into Sutton more and more. I just need some more confidence in Bo Nix, But the comp to Justin Herbert, rookie Justin Herbert is a little is easy because they both came out of Oregon.
Oregon lazy,
but, yeah. but they both kind of had similar opinions about them as rookies, right? Like, people did not think Justin Herbert was going to be a good NFL quarterback, and then Tyrod Taylor gets his lung collapsed, and lo and behold, like Justin Herbert comes out and sets the world on fire.
I think the traditional arm talent of Herbert was always better, though.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. And he was younger, but coming from that style of offense, maybe that can translate better than we are giving credit for. I'm certainly hoping, because man, Denver backdoor stacks feel so cozy.
Yeah, they do. I mean, our guy Easy I saw him reply to that drafts tweet there. He said this year's Puka is Troy Franklin, leading into the he could be the Mims of this year, or what we wanted Mims to be last year, / the college shower narrative of the two of them going to Oregon and already having a rapport together.
I like it.
I hope that's right. I mean, I take Franklin first just because the ADP game. I do try to get Mims on any team where I have Franklin too, because I just don't mind the cost. And then if you miss out on it, it's not a big deal. It is like a little concerning. I mean, you can go through how many teams in the draft passed on Troy Franklin, and wondering why was that, because he was a pretty interesting prospect. But man, it is it's hard to find like legit. I mean, there's a couple, right? There's McMillan, there's Devontae Walker, but I think all of those guys, like, I feel pretty strongly of like Franklin, Walker, and McMillan. Like, one of those guys is going to be a pretty nice hit.
Yeah. McMillan does seem like kind of a tough bet, but I'm clicking the shit out of Jalen McMillan right now. Very much.
He was going to get steamed too crazy, and there was that quick push up, and then he just kind of stopped.
Yeah, he fell to the 17th, 18th turn in one of my drafts this morning.
Shout out to John Boy Beats one time with he does like a lot of newsletters and stuff. I really like the way that he is defining these ADP risers and fallers.
We are up again here. Sorry, Nez.
No. I just wanted to say that.
The aforementioned Gabe Davis, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, Gabe Mitchell correlates with the Addison.
I think I'm cool with a wide receiver here, even though we have some stacks here.
Who do you like, Wicks or Myers?
Myers. Wicks is cool too.
Wow, you don't know ball? No.
I know. Got to hand in my card.
I mean,
Vegas I like the 100 targets for Myers.
I think it's definitely range of outcomes. They might just establish the fuck out of it, though. And just, did you see the tight end quotes that Levitan was circulating this morning, where the tight end coach was just talking in May about how we block first, and then if good things happen after that kind of deal. And it's like they spent first round capital on both these tight ends, or
that's just
first and late early second.
That's just a football coach being a football guy. Like these tight ends, they block, like they're linemen, they got to run block, but like they are Brock's gonna run routes.
It's funny because I have like two thoughts. The one is like, I don't care about that quote or whatever, but if there is a guy who's going to be this year's like JSN that like we, are really excited about the profile and draft a shit ton, and like systemic stuff with the offense or the coaching or the usage, like doesn't get us to where we want, like it's definitely going to be Brock Bowers. Like he is by far the best candidate to be this year's JSN, and it's not going to stop me, because in the outcomes where they do utilize him correctly, it's going to just be a massive smash.
Yep. Well said. I'm trying to think who's like, I mean, everybody talks about like tight end hit rates and how there's second year breakouts opposed to rookie breakouts. And maybe we were just spoiled last year with the Laporta one and stuff. But I'm trying to think through, and Trey McBride, but I'm trying to think through like who is another one before that generation who smashed for us.
I mean, there wasn't. That was the whole thing. It was like rookie tight ends. I mean, this is Mike Ditka. I mean, like you're gonna have to go way back.
Yeah. Mike.
So the Caleb Falls tantalizing, but I think Downs or Davis on this team, especially because we still have like Herbert in the back pocket. What do you guys think?
Davis or Caleb?
Let's do your Gabe Davis. Play into the
Okay.
theme that we're getting our guys here.
You could get Caleb to fall too, man. I mean, this draft is it's always tough to tell until you see like you can. And I think the first indicator that we got, or the canary in the coal mine, as Pete likes to say, was that we got Burrow past ADP, which I think is like, okay, we could probably see a Williams fall as well. If I swear, man, anytime I take Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow is going 5 picks ahead of ADP to somebody on stacked. So never mind.
Oh, Fully Loaded did it with the Swift one. I was mindful of the fact that Matrix to our left was the Rome drafter, and he passed on it because he already had 2 quarterbacks. So I was kind of hoping if you pass it by the Swift guy on the other side of the board.
Yeah.
I mean, one's really doing it unless they do the Cole Kmet thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to suggest, is that we do Caleb and then we tack on Cole Kmet later. But, I just put out a steamy bull case for Gabe Davis, and we also are desperate for wide receivers. So
I missed the fact that DJ Moore fell this far in this draft. Normally he goes on the left-hand side of the board, so I thought we got it by both of them. But Fully Loaded also has DJ Moore, so he gets a double stack with a Caleb fall there. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, that is nice. The and like if we're gonna win this league, with this start, it's going to be because we found a smash in this range, a Palmer, a Jacoby, a Gabe. Like we have to have one of these guys return like round 5 wide receiver value.
Right. Yeah. Good shout. Guys, do us a favor. We got almost, 800 and something of us watching. We got 200 of those people on YouTube. Those 600 of you, if you guys jump over, hit that like, hit that subscribe, that notification, go a long way for us. We come back every single day, as the banner at the top indicates, Underdog Daily. We draft all the sports, but primarily football right now. And then this show, specifically Off and On the Clock with Pete Overzet, is here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So do us a favor, drop a thumb or 2.
Okay, let's see. Oh, hello.
Probably,
is this Herbert?
Lock up Herbert and not mess around, right?
Yep.
I don't see.
I would like to. I think.
Yeah. If there was a running back faller to like shut it down with, we got some leeway at tight end, and there's a kind of a wall here of options. I think Herbert's the pick.
Yeah, really like Herbert here. The wide receivers are not like overly tantalizing. I think if I had to choose one, it would probably be Darnell Mooney, but I'd much rather get the stack instead of tacking on our wide receiver 7 there, which is I'm going to feel really no different about if we wait another round.
Yeah,
cool.
We also, like I said, we still have. So we have QJ. We got Michael Wilson. We got Dortch. We got Zay. So we don't have to. Like, I think we caught up at wide receiver, at least quantity wise. We're good.
Yeah, and if we get that, my vote for skeleton key for us on this team is like Jordan Addison having like that awesome 2nd-year breakout as our wide receiver 3. Like, I feel good about Keenan and Ayuk, of course, but if we can get like Addison really delivering for us, then this team is definitely smashing. And even if the wide receivers that we get later in this draft are okay, but not the league winners that we are trying to hope for as well.
Yeah,
this is a room full of professional ass wide receivers. Keenan Allen, Jacoby Myers, Joshua Palmer. Like, those are professional ass wide receivers who are just going to stay on the field. And then you shoot the moon with Gabe Davis and Jordan Addison, opposed to doing so with like rookies that are.
Guys, we can't do Adam Thielen for a 3rd straight team.
No, I was going to suggest Kmet. Like, again, if we're going to make it, we stack up the Bears without Caleb. We're already good on quarterback.
I'm really into Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
He's the other one I was going to say is Nick Chubb and shut it down at 4. But
we might be able to push Chubb. Look at the running backs behind us. There's a team that has 5, that has 4.
Yeah,
It's
good
true.
shout.
There are a lot of running backs there.
Chubb
Yeah,
would be a
Star
fun-
Torres is a piss boy, so he doesn't take Chubb. It's not in his DNA.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Cole Kmet quietly like a pretty damn good tight end with not great quarterback play. Granted, you add 2 other pass catchers there to like hinder the volume, but I think he just kind of showed me enough that if you add a good quarterback, the tight end targets are pretty, I don't know if insulated is the right word, but maybe like protected, right? Like the historical targets that you've got, no matter who you add, just because you're a tight end, can remain pretty solid. And then we don't have to, play the ADP chasing game of picking out a late tight end. We can actually feel okay about that position and feel like we are winning the league at that spot.
Yep.
I had to go check on Mr. Good Boy there. I hear him scratching, and he doesn't have a cone on, so I got to make sure he's not scratching,
ripping his stitches
out of his lip. Yeah.
I see Roman Wilson there. I was looking for more Roman Wilson buzz, and I think it's helpful to be a local from a certain team, because for fantasy analysts, the only publication that exists is The Athletic. Like, nothing else might as well matter. But there's the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which, has beat writers and writes up teams. I saw a little bit of Roman Wilson news from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. It wasn't good. They said, granted, it was practice in shorts and everything. He didn't stand out and wasn't looking like anything special. So granted, it does coincide with what we've already gotten. Just to double down on the unfortunate Roman Wilson bearishness, because as a fan, was really hoping he was going to step in and be okay. But there's still time, of course. It's literally just beat reports, but you would like something positive about the guy.
As the people don't. They don't want you to know that the Chargers, in fact, got the real Michigan wide receiver that everybody wanted, the Quintus Cephas of our generation. What was his name again?
What was his name? Mr. Cornelius Johnson? We were the first stream to say that name on the airwaves, John. People forget.
Yeah. He's going to be an 18th round pick on this team, baby.
Oh, I don't know that I can make you do that, but
I was kind of hoping QJ would fall, which is a thing I never thought I would say. Roman Wilson was a bummer, because I was clicking him a decent bit. And now I'm basically like, needs to be around past ADP and correlated is kind of like the only way I'm doing it.
Yeah, which is weird, because usually the Steelers are good at drafting wide receivers, and it seems like they might have swung and missed here, but I think we're close to removing that title. Yeah, they hit on George Pickens, but we've got Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin, as recent picks by the Steelers here. I think they might be losing their fastball a little bit.
All right, this is a Chubb smash for this build if we get him here. I know I'm jinxing it here, but 162 as our RB4 in a hyper fragile build.
Yeah,
there you go.
Very cool.
Let's do it.
That's insane, man. Do you guys know when Chubb had the injury? I mean, well, I guess it more so matters when he had the surgery, so I'm not even gonna make that point. But the injury was it not week 2?
It doesn't matter. We saw him hopping around on one foot doing an
That's right.
Drill, and we're fine. I'll be right back.
He's back.
Oh, that's a good one. Nez, I'm kind of glad you brought up the draft thing when you were talking about like Steelers hitting on wide receivers, because one thing that I was thinking about with the Ricky Pearsall like soft fade kind of thing was the way that the Niners draft, and how I think he's more of like a contingent plan for the future opposed to a smash this year. Like, obviously things can happen and he can work his way into roles and whatnot. But like, I was thinking about it in terms of like, what have they shown us in the past with this regime? Like, they drafted Trey Lance and didn't play him. They moved up to draft him and didn't play him. They moved up to take Brandon Ayuk, and Brandon Ayuk didn't do anything for like the first 3-4 weeks of that season. Yeah, Trey Sermon. They moved up to take Trey Sermon, did nothing with him. Like,
really good point.
It just kind of like scares me. I would vote Michael Wilson here for the stack. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, this is easy.
I mean, we talked about the Arizona stuff, how like they basically have nobody under contract next year other than Michael Wilson. Pete, you good with Michael Wilson here for the stack?
Yes.
Cool.
Very cool.
Like, obviously, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. and they got Trey McBride. And then I think they want Michael Wilson to be that other outside piece. But, like, Zay Jones potentially might not even be there through the entirety of the season. Greg Dortch will probably still be there. I think he has one more year. But, yeah, when we were looking at that situation, it's like if they're envisioning their future sets, it's Trey Benson in that backfield, and it's those two wide receivers on the outside and Trey McBride. So I think they're going to give him every opportunity to stay on the field in 2 wide receiver sets, despite how much they love Greg Dortch behind closed doors.
And again, like the BBM leverage thing, too, we're saying like, all right, what if Marvin Harrison gets hurt? God forbid, he's a bust. Like what are the ways this offense can still, hum? We're building that team. We reached a little bit for Kyler, McBride, Wilson, just like stack up this offense and say, hey, what if the most expensive piece doesn't hit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was doing the infinite scroll this morning or last night or something like that. And a video came across that Justin Fields was talking about his favorite Ohio State wide receivers. And he put JSN at number 2 ahead of Chris Olave, ahead of, Garrett Wilson, like all that stuff. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Those guys.
He had McLaurin 5, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. He had McLaurin 5. Yeah.
Spicy.
So structurally, guys, like, cause we're in good shape. Like this, we found ourselves in a spot. Obviously we're going to grab at least one more wide receiver, but like we're good at quarterback. We're good at tight end. We're good at running back. I think we could still definitely get to 5 running backs if we like one here.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think we have to cap this at 4 just because it's the hyper fragile. It's what you do. Mm-hmm. I like the way that we caught up at wide receiver and kind of capped tight end. Like I don't think we need a 3rd tight end here at all. And we don't really have any outs for a 3rd. Well, we maybe have a 3rd QB in our future, but it's not necessary. We have outs is basically what I'm getting at is we set ourselves up nicely for these last 3 picks.
Javon Baker went. It would have been fun to get like a rookie swing opposite the Chargers in week 17, but I also think we could do McCaff.
Nope. Jeez Louise.
Want to do Dobbins as another, like, let's go injury upside correlated with
Herbert. Let's do Dobbins.
I think he's still injured and gets injured.
No, I was saying like we took Chubb and Dobbins, and on this team we have our magic pixie dust that makes all big injuries go away.
If Dobbins doesn't get hurt, he's gonna play.
I got a spicy take that I dropped in the Swolecast one when you guys were talking about the Vidal stuff. Vidal, you see him once in preseason or something like that. Vidal's going to be Darwin Thompson.
I could definitely see it. I mean, there was the report today. We were talking about it on the Swolecast where it was like, Gus Edwards, clear running back 1, Dobbins, the RB2, like Nez just said, only qualifier if. Like, as long as he can move, like Dobbins is going to get the 2nd crack, and then Vidal would be the 3rd guy.
Mm-hmm. Greg Roman loves his guys, man. Like you've seen this for years with Baltimore. They were so stubborn with that offense.
I think Vidal's like definitely draftable, but like you're not going to catch me taking. And now I say this, and I'm sure there's some draft where I did this, but you're not going to normally catch me taking like a Ray Davis or, Bucky Irving or, over him. Like it's hard. I feel like you're getting the same kind of contingent type value with way more standalone certainty.
Yeah.
I think a honorable mention for 5th running back on this team, even though we already have it. So I think I do believe that we are done at running back. Would have been 18th round Michael Carter with these Cardinals.
Oh my God!
Ooh, that's a cheeky one.
Michael Carter is our generation's Eric Gray. We're like, oh, what if? Should I start taking a?
Dude, I'm still a believer that Michael Carter is not bad at football.
He was pretty good as a pass catching guy.
Yeah. Then I don't know what happened.
So someone took Greg Dortch from us. This would be a team where I'd be fine with Zay Jones. I definitely think we're grabbing some wide receivers here. This team also has DJ Chark written all over it.
Yeah. Pencil him in.
Are we getting 2-stack happy with some of those picks? Like we already got Herbert double stacked with
There's
Dobbins.
just like no other real bull cases, I guess, to make, in my opinion.
I don't consider the running back part of this, like from that standpoint. And to me, I also think about it from a cost perspective. Like, I think if you did like Zay, Dortch, and Michael Wilson with Kyler, like, I don't think that's too much. I think it's too much. Like if you did all 3 Bears wide receivers, where it's just prefer? Like, how does this
play the ADP game? Go Zay first.
Okay. Another professional ass wide receiver.
Yeah.
So rocky year last year, but
give me the pushback, John. Just like needing to have more of the nuts in BBM.
Yeah, more or less. Like where it's like this probably plays better in like maybe not like eliminator, but maybe in like if you love the playoff schedule in the sprint and you were like, okay, let's just try and smash Arizona for the playoff stretch there. We just don't know who he's going to be going off with each game, but we encapsulate Arizona going off for 3 straight games, which I mean plays in BBM as well because the scoring system is you have to advance each isolated week. It's just maybe it's harder for me to envision like Zay Jones being the guy you need in tandem with like Kyler, where it's like they're not number 1 options. I think it'd be more plausible with like DJ Chark, for instance, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think I kind of agree. So the way I view like these stacks are where we tell ourselves a story. I do think this is like the story where Marvin Harrison is a bust or injured. But right. I think with the Chargers, there's so much opportunity. There's so much ambiguity on, yes, we can all be confident they want to run the ball a ton, but there's a ton of ambiguity about how the passing game is going to shake out in the pieces like Palmer and Chark are so relatively cheap that I think you can fuck around and find out and not like limit the upside. We have a ton of other one-off pieces from those other offenses. If anything, I'm just like, I wish we had a little bit more youth in the back end of this team. But like they all went, like there was no one to take. They all went, a round and a half earlier than they normally do.
These are straight guys that Nez and I will be stacking in like week 3. And we'll be like, guys, we haven't seen anything from QJ yet. Like, just trust me. This DJ Chark week here against the Panthers or like whatever. Like these are the type of guys that we're going to be hunting come daily season.
I was thinking of a fun show idea for us, or maybe it's not fun, but to predict like week 1, like battle royale ADP.
Oh yeah,
kind of like go through the schedule.
Always a good show. I think we did that last year too. I was like, it was like around this time, like middle of July. Like we gotta start forecasting. Let's look at these matchups.
DJ Chark goes there. I mean, it does open us up to like some of these one-off names. If you guys just want to shout one out.
I know Pete just drafted Brendan Rice with Ron for a stack.
You guys think about Bo Melton as a bring back?
Did we draft Brendan Rice?
I thought you did.
Was it on his stream? Maybe
6 seconds.
Oh, maybe it was on his stream. Yeah. I'm cool with the crazy Bo Melton share.
Sure, go ahead. Okay. A little op. We didn't take a Wicks, so we got the true Wicks and Bo Melton in the last round.
Damn right.
Yeah, no,
That's
I'm actually
fun little draft there. Man, Jumpfree said something in the chat there that jumped out to me where it's like if you do a 5 running back build and then you just tack on like Chubb and Dobbins, like it feels so good. It kind of is like my mindset with the TJ Hawkinson stuff where it's like if you do like a 3 tight end build and then one of them just happens to be Hawkinson, like how good it feels to just potentially open up that ceiling late if you can push the other guys through.
Yeah, like I love how this turned out. Like I said, I wish, one of that trio we were talking about, a Franklin, a McMillan, a Walker, like get some real upside juice. Whereas I think a lot of the guys, like the Wilson stuff or whoever down there probably needs some kind of injury to get fully unlocked. But I think structurally, and I love all the correlation. I think this is, if you're going to do that with the Bijan Kyren, I like that we didn't capitulate in the 4th, took McBride, didn't capitulate, when we took Kyler, didn't capitulate when we took Warren, and we're able to kind of, go even look at our ADP values on wide receiver. Was there one we had to egregiously reach on?
Not egregiously.
Yeah.
No, a
Or none
couple
at all?
spots on Gabe and Myers, but nothing bad. Everything else was like right at ADP kind of thing.
Yeah, so obviously we need those top 3 to hit, and then it's like, to me, I'm like, can we get one smash from the Palmer, Jacoby, Gabe trio?
And we're going to get a
Right.
lot of flex weeks from Jalen Warren too, and if Chubb comes back healthy too, like we have a definitely like a lot of flex scores coming from that RB position, which I think really helps out and is part of obviously the thesis of when you do these hyper fragile builds is, you know, Bijan and Kyron are cooking every week, and then yeah, you get yourself some spike week options at running back as well. I like the team. It feels nice when you land your premium stack that you're going for. That always I always feel immediately better than having to do like Herbert, and then we do a Javon and Drake May and like and Bo Nix, even though I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's a pretty nasty team. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think this is one of my favorite ones we've built together, and I don't know. It's hard to do with those 2 running backs in the first 3 picks.
The Chubb, Dobbins, just taking if we can just get each one of their ACLs into one player, we'll be good.
That's next on the medical front.
Lending ACLs like we're lending kidneys to teammates kind of deal.
Did we
for
fully
the audio?
recap this one? Yeah, for the audio listeners, here it is. So we had the Kyler and Justin Herbert at quarterback. We got our high T double running back start with Bijan and Kyron. Grab Jalen Warren there in the mid, and then grab our injured heroes, Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins. Wide receivers, Brandon Ayuk, Keenan Allen, Jordan Addison, ... Joshua Palmer, Jacoby Myers, Gabe Davis, ... Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, ... Bo Melton, tight end, Trey McBride, ... Cole Kmet.
That's a 9 for me, boys.
That's your highest score yet, John.
That's my highest score we've given out yet. That's my favorite team we've built.
Yeah, I like all our teams, but this is definitely up there with the faves.
As John mentioned earlier, if you guys are watching this on X, make sure you hop over to the BadgeBros. Even if you like exclusively watching on X, helps the show out, the YouTube channel, the algo, all that good stuff. Hit the subscribe. They got all kinds of daily Underdog content. And we are, of course, here for Off and On the Clock every Wednesday. We'll probably have a schedule change once the season starts. I need to huddle with these guys on that, but we'll keep rolling this off season Wednesdays. For me, got my streams over on the Pete Overzet YouTube channel, and then the pre-recorded videos over on the Deposit Kingdom. Had a fun one that dropped this morning with Ron Stewart. Kind of similar concept that we did with like talking through our bold predictions and then trying to go get those guys. I basically interview my guests, their favorite, preferences in draft structures, targets, Galbrain ideas, and then we try to execute them. And it resulted in a really fun build with Ron. So you guys can check that out. Anything else from you guys here?
Yeah, I'm hopping on Neil Warfield's podcast tonight, Playing for Keeps. So going to chat with him a little bit about my background and shoot the shit with him for a while. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm doing that tonight.
Love it. Yeah, and then we'll have loaded stuff tomorrow. We'll have 2 p.m. Eastern with us. Probably do a little bit of baseball slate, although I haven't looked at it. Thursdays can get a little janky. Maybe we end up we'll definitely do some football mixed in there. And then randomizer with you tomorrow night, Pete, and Best Ball After Dark. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That randomizer will be at 8 on my YouTube channel. And then right after for the YouTube members, we'll do Best Ball After Dark right around, 9:15 or so. So we'll see you then. For Nez, for John, for the Platform of the People, this has been Off and On the Clock. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.